Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're setting the stage for a really structured breakdown of two deeply chilling mysteries. We're going to be contrasting a real-time digital disappearance that unfolded live on the early internet with an ancient piece of analog folklore from the deep jungles of Southeast Asia. Ultimately, both of these accounts force us to ask a pretty terrifying question. What actually happens when we accidentally step off the map? Let's get right into it.
Okay, let's dive into this. The very first breadcrumb of our first mystery simply reads, "This may just be my imagination. Can I post it anyway?" It's such a hesitant, eerie first post, made late one night in January 2004 by a young Japanese woman named Fumi. She typed this out into her flip phone while riding a commuter train, kicking off a bizarre series of events that would end up completely baffling the internet. Section 1. The Kisaragi Station Mystery. Let's see how this whole thing starts. What makes this mystery so crazy is how a totally mundane, everyday situation warps into something terrifying. To really get it, we have to ground ourselves in the year 2004 in the city of Hamamatsu, Japan. Fumi was in her early 20s, and she was just taking the exact same commuter train she took every single night for her overnight shift. Usually, this ride was just a quick 7 or 8 minute trip with plenty of stops. But on this specific night, around 11 p.m., Fumi suddenly realized she had been on this train for over 20 minutes. It was speeding along, and it hadn't made a single stop.
Now, the few other passengers on the train were dead asleep, and Fumi was just too shy to wake them up. So what did she do? She turned to the limited internet connection on her 2004 cell phone and logged into 2chan. 2chan was an early, highly active text-based forum. Think of it kind of like a precursor to Reddit. It wasn't just passive scrolling. Users actively communicated and crowdsourced ideas in real time. So Fumi presented her problem to the active users of 2chan, hoping anyone could tell her what train she had accidentally boarded.
And this brilliantly illustrates the immediate dread of her environment. On a normal Japanese commute, you absolutely expect bright signs indicating the route and highly responsive conductors. But Fumi's train? Well, users on 2chan told her to look for a sign, but she reported back that the car had completely blank walls. Then they told her to knock on the conductor's door. She walked to the front, knocked, even yelled over the noise, but there was zero answer. The door was locked tight, and there was just this deafening silence from the crew.
Section 2. Real-time digital disappearance. This is where the panic truly sets in.
This is exactly where the users of 2chan shift from casually giving advice to engaging in an active, frantic investigation. Let's quickly walk through the timeline of her journey into the unknown. Fumi's train departs at 11 p.m. By 11:30 p.m., the train hasn't stopped, and panic begins to spread on the forum. Then, out of nowhere, the train suddenly whooses into a pitch-black tunnel. A tunnel Fumi knows for an absolute fact does not exist on her normal route. After exiting the tunnel, the train finally slows down and stops at an unmapped, totally deserted outdoor platform. Fumi steps off, the doors slam shut right behind her, and the train disappears into the dark. She checks the platform sign and posts her location to 2chan. The name on the sign? Kisaragi Station. From there, her frantic posts continue all the way until 4 a.m.
But here is the massive turning point. As Fumi stands alone in the dark, she asks the forum to look up where Kisaragi Station actually is so she can find a taxi. About 20 miles away, a user named Yui pulls out a real, physical railway map. Hundreds of others do the exact same thing. And the chilling consensus hits the message board. There is no Kisaragi Station. That station doesn't exist. Fumi has stepped completely off the grid. There are no taxis, no police to call, no surrounding city. Just empty, dark tracks.
Following the forum's advice, Fumi begins walking back down the tracks. Her posts start coming in faster and faster. She reports hearing drumming and mysterious bells coming from the tunnel. She falls and starts bleeding. She even claims a strange man called out to her from behind, but when she looked, no one was there. Finally, she makes it through the tunnel and tells the forum she met a man who offered to give her a ride to the next real station. And then, at 4 a.m., we get the chilling finale of her digital footprint. She types, "My battery's almost run out. Things are getting strange. I'm going to make this my last post for now." After that, nothing. Users called the police and the railway companies, but they literally all said the same thing. Kisaragi Station isn't real. Fumi vanished completely.
Section 3. Terror in Northern Thailand. Let's transition over to the northern wilderness.
We are making a temporal and geographical leap here, moving away from the digital frontier and straight into the analog wilderness. The year is 1934. A 33-year-old American hunter named Harold Young, who was actually raised by missionaries and fluently spoke the local language, enters a very remote village belonging to the indigenous Lahu tribe in northern Thailand. Now, Harold had visited this specific village multiple times to get hunting permission. Normally, this place was bustling with people at all hours, but on this night, it was uncharacteristically abandoned and just dead silent. Everyone was hiding indoors.
So Harold walks up to the chief's thatch hut to ask for permission. The chief pulls back the leather door flap, and you guys, he is terrified. This is a normally strong, charismatic pillar of the community, but right now, he is scanning the darkness with wide eyes. He looks at Harold and whispers, "You shouldn't be outside right now." Harold tries to ask about hunting, but the chief completely ignores him. Suddenly, this blood-curdling woman's scream erupts from a hut across the village. Harold runs toward it, but the chief grabs his shoulder and whispers, "Be careful and be quiet."
Let's move to and see how this builds. As the tension reaches a boiling point, Harold approaches the hut where the scream came from. He peers inside and sees a massive, dark, furry humanoid creature crouching right on the floor. Beneath it is the lifeless body of a woman. Without warning, the creature stands up on two legs, turns, and charges right at Harold. Reflexively, Harold raises his rifle and shoots the beast square in the chest. It shrieks with a sound Harold had never heard before, drops to the floor, but then instantly whips around and gallops away on all fours straight into the dark jungle.
They frantically searched the jungle that night but found absolutely nothing. So let's look at the grim morning discovery, and I'm going to let you investigate right alongside Harold. Step 1. When the sun comes up, Harold follows the broken brush back into the jungle. Step 2. He notices a brand new, small blood trail on the ground that they simply couldn't see with their torches the night before. Step 3. He tracks this blood trail, but instead of going deeper into the woods, it deviates and cuts right back around to the opposite side of the village. Step 4. The blood trail leads straight under the door flap of a different, unsearched hut. Harold readies his rifle, pulls back the flap, and discovers a dead body on a bed. But it's not a beast. It's a human man, his chest completely soaked in blood from a bullet wound.
Section 4. The Legend of the Tao. Let's dig into this ancient folklore.
At this point, Harold is having an absolute existential crisis, fully believing he just accidentally murdered a man in cold blood. So the crucial point is how the village chief actually reacted. When Harold dragged him to the hut to confess, the chief just calmly put his hand on Harold's shoulder and said, "Don't worry about it, that's not really a man." He then explained the lore of the Ta, a werewolf-like creature from Lahu folklore. Most of the time, it is a perfectly normal human, but periodically it's overtaken by evil forces, transforming into a violent, furry, flesh-eating monster by night. The village had seen signs of a Ta recently, which is exactly why they were hiding in total silence when Harold arrived.
It's really fascinating to compare these two side by side. On one hand, we have analog lore, passed down over centuries in a remote, physical wilderness. On the other hand, a digital myth born from real-time, crowdsourced terror on internet forums. But at their core, both of these legends explore the exact same human fear. What happens when the rules of reality just break down in isolated, unmapped spaces?
Section 5. Surviving the Unexplained.
These mysteries didn't just end with Humi and Harold, they left a seriously lasting impact. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the number 7, because Humi's disappearance, it actually wasn't an isolated event. Over the years since 2004, at least 7 other people in Japan have reported getting onto normal commuter trains that suddenly speed past normal stops, dropping them off at mysterious, deserted, unmapped platforms where they encounter unsettling sounds or truly bizarre people.
In fact, the terror of these phantom trains has become so enduring in Japan that internet users actually crowdsourced a very real set of survival rules just in case you ever find yourself on one. Number 1, never respond to strangers who speak to you. Number 2, avoid going through tunnels at all costs. And number 3, no matter what happens, do not exit your train at unmapped stations.
Which leaves us with this final thought. Whether you're navigating the early, lawless days of the internet or hiking through the remote, ancient wilderness of northern Thailand, what really hides in the dark spaces we have yet to map? Thank you for walking through this explainer with me. Until next time, stay curious and always check your stops.